not about politics. It's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. We're just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
I just get it and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into It's Just Football here, a post-Christmas edition of the show. Hope everybody out there had a fantastic holiday. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Mike Renner joining you guys for the first time remotely. Hopefully the camera setups are up to par, up to you guys' standards. But we got a lot to talk about here on this show. We couldn't miss a Monday show. You know we couldn't. Weekend jam-packed with football, even though it was the holidays. Mike, how we feel, my friend? How are your holidays? Did you get anything super cool? It's what I'm going to ask you right off the bat.
Holidays were great. I don't think I got anything I would describe as super cool. I got a framed picture of a golf course that I shot 73 at earlier this year. So that was pretty cool. Sea Island. So that was probably the coolest gift I got in terms of uniqueness.
You shot a 73 earlier this year?
Yeah, dude. Sea Island. The course they played the RSM at. It was hot.
You're an animal. You're an absolute animal. I got a couple of skin cleaning products. So if I'm glowing today,
nice, dude. The beer looks great. Beer looks even better on this camera.
Thank you, appreciate it. Honestly though, the gift, the true gift was watching my dog try to walk around in his new boots because it's really cold outside for the first time. And he was doing the thing where anybody out there who has a dog has probably seen this, where the dog just like tries to step and they just don't understand what's going on. That was truly my Christmas gift for this year, was watching my dog try to do that.
I was going to say, you're lucky you weren't in Cincy, because on Friday when it was -8 and wind chill in the -30s, my dog didn't even walk. He refused to go outside. He took one step, stopped. I had to pick him up, take him back inside. Didn't even go to the bathroom that day until I literally made him by carrying him all the way to the grass. It was incredible.
So yeah, I was about to ask how the weather is. It at least a little bit warmer, because I'm coming back tonight. So is it a little bit warmer than -8?
Yeah, it's like 17, but it's snowing. I'm looking right out my window right now, and it's pouring down snow.
Okay, well, hopefully that ends before I fly in later today. But we're not here to just talk about my travel plans and the weather. We are here to talk about some great NFL football. Shout out to you guys who are watching. We appreciate you watching the show, getting in live on the chat as it is a post-Christmas day. Hopefully we're ushering in part of that new year for you as we kind of count things down to the end of December and the beginning of 2023. Quinn, Sav, how we feeling today, my friends? How you guys doing? How was your holidays? Did either of you get anything cool, Quinn, other than Trent Irwin becoming him?
A superstar.
Yeah, what was that?
Yeah, he's good. He's carrying Joe Burrow. We've said it like 3 or 4 times on this app.
Just a
but no,
product.
I got like a bunch of new. I always get a bunch of new gear, which like is when you're a kid and you get like new clothes, you're like, oh, this sucks. But like when you're an adult and you get a new pair of jeans, or you get like a new Apple Watch band, it's like, oh, this is pretty hot. Like I can't wait to go somewhere where I can actually like wear it out and stunt, be on drip or skip.
Ooh.
Dude, you could. Yeah. I was gonna say you could do it on the show. You could. We need to have.
Well, but I can't. I don't want to wear
it. Of Quinn walking in the door at the PFF studios and then put it on drip or skip. We need to do this for next week.
I really and truly have thought about on drip or skip days just dressing like a total asshole, just to like embrace the theme. So maybe I'll do it. We don't have a ton of weeks left, but maybe I'll do it.
He has wanted to do that for a while.
I think you absolutely
I'll join you. I'll do drip or skip. I'll do that.
All right. We'll do it next week then.
Next week.
I feel like we all kind of need to do it at some point, but that would be a great idea. We're doing drip or skip again today, as we always do on a Monday. But Quinn, what's our question of the day to get us kicked off here?
Yeah. So this one is in honor of Justin Jefferson, which I kind of gave away one of the answers just there. But how many active NFL wide receivers currently hold a single season franchise receiving record?
Oh, so Justin Jefferson, obviously we're going to get to this a little bit during the show, broke Randy Moss's record for the most receiving yards in a single season for the Minnesota Vikings. So the question of the day here, this is a good one for the chat.
Yeah,
how many active NFL players?
It doesn't have to be with the team that they're currently with, right?
Okay.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Okay, like it could be I broke a record for X franchise, and then I now play for Y franchise. That's your.
I think Devontae Adams
It's 1.
Could be 1. And this is just receiving yardage, right?
Yeah, single season receiving yardage. Yep.
Okay.
So it's got to be Devontae's 1, Justin Jefferson's 2, Mike Evans, I'm almost 95% is 3.
Okay.
Would Tyreek be 1?
With the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Probably. I'm trying to think of who else would have had more for the Chiefs at one point. Because he went like over 1,700 one year, right?
There had to be 1 year where he just had monster numbers. I don't know off the top of my head, but I've got to think that he's a good guess. Jeff is guessing 5. Ooh, Matt's saying Julio Jones. That's another good one.
Yeah, Julio. I would bet Michael Thomas, right, for the Saints.
Ooh, yeah.
He had like 1,800 one year. I bet Michael Thomas, and I bet Stephon Diggs with the Bills probably.
So it's 6. That would be up to 7. That would be 7.
Hold on, I gotta jump in and stop you guys real quick because I screwed up the graphic. I put wide receivers. It doesn't have to be a wide receiver. One of them is a tight end. So I screwed that up. Just realized that.
There's your hint.
Yeah, there's your other hint. One of them is a tight end.
Oh, well, I would think that Kelsey.
So either Kelsey or Kittle, or Kelsey or Hill, then is 1. We're giving.
So that's 1. And Quinn corrected us, so I've got to think that it's actually Kelsey.
Yeah, could be. I'm trying to think what other tight ends would even.
The only other one that I'm seeing on here that the chat is kind of going crazy about is DeAndre Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
People are putting D-Hop in there.
Or the Texans, probably. Well,
people are saying for the Texans, but like they had Andre Johnson.
They did have Andre Johnson. That was the one I was like, it would be close with him. I could see. Would AJ Green have it for the Bengals or no? God.
Well, either AJ Green has it or Jamar Chase has it, right?
Or Chris Collinsworth.
Oh,
no. I would bet AJ Green has it.
I gotta think AJ Green.
So what are we up to now?
That's 8. I
haven't been writing these down.
I think that's 8.
Yeah, let me just start tossing some down.
That's 8 without DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay.
DT Dynasty says Kelsey's on it. Ooh, okay. Kyle says AJ Brown for the Titans. Did he though? Oh, a sneaky one is Allen Robinson for the Jags.
The Jags, but they had Jimmy Smith, right? Jimmy Smith put up numbers back in the day.
He did, but A-Rob got 1,500 yards that one.
Okay. Yeah, that one, I could see that.
So that might be it. So that would get us to 9 if we wanted to do that. DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett for Seattle. Oh, wait. Cooper Kupp, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Cooper Kupp has to be on there.
Yeah.
So I think we're at 10. This is a good question. I like this.
Yeah.
Luke says the tight end could also be Darren Waller. Yeah, it could be.
All right.
Craig says Calvin Johnson, but it's a
active.
It's got to be a current wide receiver. So like that's why we're not going with like Gronk or Calvin Johnson or guys like that.
Maybe he knows something we don't.
But we'll still, and then we'll get back to that at the end. But I feel good about this. I got to think about a little bit more. But yeah,
I think it's gonna be like 10 or 11. That's my initial guess here. Is that it's gonna be 10 or 11.
Yeah, I've written down
what's up to everybody who just joined? We got some new people in here, so appreciate you guys joining the show. We're gonna go over some refresh the timeline. We're gonna get into some of our favorite moments that we saw from over the weekend before we get into our game superlatives. Mike and I, of course, are gonna talk about the game that we want to talk about the most, game that mattered most for the playoffs, game that mattered most for the NFL draft, and then as we always do every week, a game that just didn't make any sense. And for as entertaining as the NFL is, we always have a couple of those to choose from. And this week is no different. But let's start by refreshing the timeline. We opened the show talking about some of the unusually cold temperatures that we're seeing around the country, even for some of the parts of the country that are innately cold this time of year. One of them is in Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills did not play at home this week. They played in Chicago, but when they got back to Buffalo, they had an early Christmas present I guess is the way that I could say it, from Mother Nature. And it was the fact that they couldn't even get out of their own parking spots.
Yeah, Dad.
Mike, look at this, man. This is brutal. I'm from Florida. I don't know what I would do. Maybe I'd call 911. I don't know. Like, what do you even do in this situation? I have no idea.
You just keep shoveling. You just got to keep.
Yeah, Dad.
It's a fact of life in the Midwest. I was born in Milwaukee, grew up in Illinois, lived in Indiana, and now Ohio. Snow, is the worst. It is like something that down south you just don't have to deal with. But like when it starts snowing, your whole city shuts down. Like you cannot do much in the snow. Now, obviously up north, like a lot more people have 4-wheel drive and are adept at it, and they're adept at plowing the roads. But it really, when it gets to that bad, you're just like, over the weekend, we were just stuck inside all day. It just happens.
It builds character.
Yeah.
You think it builds character? You think it puts hairs on your
yeah.
chest, kind of a person?
Yeah.
I was out
Makes your AFC North tough.
shoveling my driveway.
Yeah.
What about you?
Meanwhile, I'm looking at real estate in Florida, kind of a person. That's what the cold does to me. The cold makes you tougher. It makes you an AFC champion, and it makes me want to look at buying a condo in Florida. That's what I got there for that one. Somebody in the chat, Matt, said, I'm currently in Buffalo shoveling out a 5-foot drift. Damn. William said no sledding for Mike. Craig said, why would anyone live in Buffalo? Now Craig and Matt got to fight. That's what I saw. Now they got to fight. What's the next one here? Oh, this one. Speaking of being AFC North tough. When the hell happened to the Cincinnati Bengals plane? What are they doing, man? They got precious cargo on there. Y'all got to see this tweet about what happened with the Cincinnati Bengals. They had to make an emergency landing to change planes because the engine failed. Mike, they got Trenton Irwin on board. They got the future MVP, man. You can't be messing around like this.
That's precious cargo, dude. I could not imagine being on a plane where the engine failed. I already don't love flying just as a whole, but yeah, like that's the kind of thing that you don't get on a plane for the rest of your life after you're on something like that.
Listen, I have to fly later tonight, and
you'll be fine. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Right, sure. I mean, if Burrow's plane can fail, then obviously people are going to save Trevor Sikkema. They've got It's Just Football tomorrow. I'll be totally fine.
Hit him with a "Do you know who I am?" at the airport if they cancel your flight.
When the pilot comes on and says, we've got an engine failure here, I'm just going to be like, do you know who I am? And he'll be like, oh, yeah, you're right. Actually, never mind. The engine's good to go. We're good to go here. Speaking of Christmas presents, we started the show asking about what people's favorite Christmas present they got this year was. Andy Reid got a pretty great one. And, Christmas presents, Mike, are all about knowing who you're giving the gift to, right? You got to know the person. That's how you nail the gift. It doesn't get more Andy Reid than this. You guys got to check this one out. This is from Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the team.
We took a little poll. We got you a Christmas gift.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's alive.
They put a cheeseburger in a wooden in his shoebox.
It's a solid looking cheeseburger.
That really was.
It looks good.
Yeah, they get that from like the Hall of Fame Club or whatever, like the top suite is in Kansas City.
I wonder if so for things like that. Now, obviously, that's like post game, pre-planned. They wouldn't have done it right if they had lost. But like the kind of it always one of those things where like they definitely kind of are on a little thin ice there, doing that thing or like planning something like that post win, where it's like it's not gonna hit the same if you lose.
No, that's true. I think that's got to be something where you go, hey, if they win, let's make sure we can go up and get one. But you got to put the if in there because you can't buy the cheeseburger
Count
beforehand.
chickens.
You can't be doing that. Plus, it's not fresh. And let's be honest, as much as it might have been a little bit of a joke gift, I don't think it was enough of a joke gift for him to maybe not take a bite out of that cheeseburger. So I think that he probably would, and you can't have it cold.
Do you think he ate it?
I agree with you there. You can't count the chickens. We touched on this one a little bit, but we'll just say a couple words about it. Justin Jefferson, record breaker. Really, we wanted to show off this fantastic graphic that the PFF made because it's a beautiful graphic, highlighting the Justin Jefferson. Now is look at that bad boy. Woo! Graphics team in the bag with this one. Now the single season record holder for receiving yards in a year. Mike, just how good has Justin Jefferson been, man? I mean, go back to his time at LSU, and you obviously scouted him a ton when he was coming out for the Tigers. And, he's a first-round pick, but obviously was not the first wide receiver taken. Just talk about what you saw at LSU from him and just how he has been able to be so effective and so damn good so early on in his career.
Yes, he understands how to play wide receiver, which is as big as being physically gifted at the wide receiver position. There are a lot of guys who are big, a lot of guys who are fast, but I think Justin Jefferson knows, one, how to get open, two, how to attack the football is the biggest thing that you saw with him at LSU, is that he had so many tough catches over the middle of the field that, year they won the national championship game. And that's what we've seen this year. You're not always going to be open in the NFL. So he can separate one. And also when he's not separating, he makes plays still. That's a telltale sign of a true number one type of wide receiver. And I do love that everyone kind of predicted this, right? Kevin O'Connell's coming over. Everyone's like, oh, he's getting the Cooper Kupp role. He's getting a zillion targets a game. And yeah, he has. Last 3 games, 16 targets, 16 targets, 15 targets. It's like he's been exactly that, and he's delivering. So it's been a lot of fun to watch if you're a Minnesota Vikings fan in this sort of Cinderella season.
And for fans that aren't fans of the Minnesota Vikings, maybe it's a little frustrating because I feel like sometimes around the NFL, you get game plans where star wide receivers don't see near that many targets or have near that much production. But every single week, Kevin O'Connell goes into it thinking, we are running our offense through Justin Jefferson. And thankfully for them, he is good enough to where the other team knows that too. Ain't a damn thing they can do about it. So they're force feeding this guy, and for good reason. He's absolutely delivering. Shout out to Justin Jefferson. One of many records that it feels like he is going to break in his NFL career. So a fantastic season there for him. Last refresh of time we got. This is your boy, Mike. This is your boy who is helping keep the Green Bay Packers playoffs hope alive. For anybody that didn't see this post-game interview between Jair Alexander, it's a peer behind the curtain that maybe NFL players aren't so different reaction-wise to you and I, because this sounds like if I were to explain a play to you, it feels like this is kind of how I would say it here. Listen to Jair and what he had to say.
How'd you grab it? Oh, man, that's easy. So I'm just lining up. I seen number 10 motion over. Hey, Jones. I seen number 10 coming across the field. I said, oh, snap, he fast. So I bagged off. When I bagged off, I seen him coming. He ran right in front of me. I was like, wow, is he really overthrowing it? Took it down the sideline, turned up with my guys, gave the football to a little kid wearing 23. I love it. Merry Christmas to you. I don't even have more to say. That was fantastic. If you celebrated Merry Christmas, go enjoy time with your family. We got a dub, baby. Pack is back.
Pack is back, baby. Pack is back, Mike.
They are ish. Now they're not. I don't think the Super Bowl contending team still. They don't look like that. But Jair's playing well. I think the defense is finally coming around the second half of that game. Obviously still some issues with busted coverages, big plays, but the talent's there. We said it from the beginning of the season. The talent's there. It was just a matter of when it was going to all come together. And to me, the other side of the ball is what's finally coming together is with Christian Watson. Obviously, he gets a little banged up in this game. Hopefully, he'll play next week. But with Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs finally up to speed in this offense, like they can actually move the ball. They actually have guys who now can get open that Rodgers trusts to throw to. So that's the bigger thing. And this is a team at the moment that if they do sneak in, Aaron Rodgers, I get that he's not been great in January of late, but I don't think anyone wants to see them come playoff time. I just don't think you want to see Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the ball. I don't care who you are.
It is fascinating to see every single year, no matter what. We kind of have these takes and we have these opinions of teams of what they have been through, I'll say 80% of the regular season. But then sometimes it just matters how you're playing when you get into the playoffs. It really does. Like you could be totally right. You could have a team's identity totally pegged for the first 80-85% of the season. But if they start playing their best ball, if they start playing super well down the stretch, sometimes they can really throw a wrench into some predicted playoff plans. So maybe the Packers could be one of those teams. I know we're going to talk about a couple of other teams that could throw a wrench into the predicted playoff positions as we kind of talk about what we want to talk about most here with what we saw in the NFL from week 16. So, Mike, I'm going to start with you, as we often do with this segment. What is the game that you want to talk about most from this past weekend? Let's break it down. Let's get into some of these games.
Yeah, I'm going to stay with that Packers game, Dolphins, but I want to go to the other side of the ball because, the Packers, they still have I think if they win their next 2 games, they will be a playoff team. But this Miami Dolphins team is in a weird spot right now at 8-7. I do think they still make the playoffs, but after losing 4 straight, I don't think anyone saw this coming because Tua Tagovailoa has just been the weirdest quarterback in the NFL, flat out. But like by any number you want to break up, has had one of the weirdest seasons I've ever seen. Through weeks 1 through 12, the best passing rate in the NFL. Lights out. The last 4 games, 51.0 passing grade, the worst in the NFL of anyone who started over that entire span. Mm-hmm. So the sort of dichotomy, the way this guy plays the position is just odd. He is a point and shoot, kind of almost predetermines a lot of his throws. And when you're predetermining a lot of your throws, you lead to games like we saw this past Sunday, where some awesome in stride throws to generate big plays. And then some just what the hell was he looking at throws when maybe a guy runs a wrong route or maybe you misdiagnose the coverage. And that was the last pick that he threw against cover 2. And that was the second pick he threw, or maybe the first pick he threw to Devondre Campbell just because Raheem Mostert doesn't run a stick route. Like it was just Tua Tagovailoa with this set of weapons can produce the highest of highs, but also, as we've seen, some really low lows. And that's going to be a weird team if they do make the playoffs, what they're going to end up looking like.
How Tua looks right now feels like it involves Mike McDaniel as much as it does Tua Tagovailoa because he feels robotic, right? I mean, when you would watch him play and when you would watch some of the struggles, a lot of the times it would be when things went off script and you go, okay, well, Tua's not really performing well when there's immediate pressure and he's kind of got to think on his feet. But at the same time, you would go and look at his grades and even just his overall performance under pressure, and a lot of numbers were looking favorable at the beginning of the year. I think that goes into how well set up Mike McDaniel had this offense in the, I'll say, first half, even a little bit longer of the season, where he just went into the year, and we talked about it so many times, the Dolphins at times look so unstoppable. This offense was a well-oiled machine, and I use the word machine, I think, literally here because it feels like Tua was robotic in that, where, yes, pressure would come up to him, but there was already a predetermined almost safety valve when pressure came up to him. So, yes, his grades under pressure were good. His performance under pressure was good, but that was more so the offensive design than it was necessarily him being able to think on his feet and really be an off-script creator. I think now you're seeing, as defenses have really started to adjust to maybe what Miami is doing in the ebbs and flows of a season, now you're getting these instances where Tua does have to think a little bit more off script. And it's not just, like you said, this point and shoot kind of a thing. And I think that's where we are with Tua at this point. And a lot of the takes that people had of waiting, if you will, for Tua to kind of regress from what he was, the highest graded quarterback that we had in our system, that is now showing up because what Mike McDaniel has installed or had installed early in the year is not nearly as effective as it is now. They're taking away not just those early things, but also some of the safety valves, which is leading to like what we saw yesterday, where this game was tied 20-20. And the next 3 possessions for Miami, interception down the stretch. You can't have that. That it's not a winning formula. That's not winning quarterback performance. I don't know. Do you see it the same way? Do you kind of see it that same way as almost like a tale of 2 seasons with what it feels like Mike McDaniel and Tua have been this year?
Yeah, I don't think they're figured out by any means, just because you can't figure out Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Like you can't figure out 2 guys that dynamic. But I do think a lot of their core concepts, we had Seth Galina break down the RPO they run so effectively that like they'll run 3 or 4 times a game, like multiple times a game. They have like core concepts that are running again and again and again. Teams have just seen those enough on tape now that those aren't nearly as effective as they were early on the season. It's probably the biggest thing. So a lot of the stuff they wanted to do starts getting taken away, and Tua doesn't have necessarily the dynamism in his game to be able to make up for that, to be able to go above and beyond, know that teams have figured it out, and kind of have a plan B. He's still stuck trying to force plan A.
That makes sense. My game that I want to talk about most is the Buffalo Bills game against the Chicago Bears. Bills absolutely dominated this game. A stat that I really wanted to read off was how well they contained Justin Fields, something that no other team has really been able to do here in the second half of the season. Justin Fields, 7 attempts, especially rushing, 7 attempts for 11 yards this game. He had a 44.8 rushing grade, which was his lowest since week 2. And obviously we've talked about how incredible he has been as of late. So you go back to the early parts of the season, that's when he was really struggling. That's before they really figured it out. So in all honesty, this is the most that Fields has been contained as a quarterback at all this season. Bills absolutely dominate. They instead have a fantastic rushing performance this week in Chicago on the road, and they handle business. They took care of business the way that you would want one overall seed to do. And Mike, that is what I want to talk about most, is that for as much as you and I have gone into our bracketology shows on Friday and we said, hey, you look at the Chiefs schedule. Chiefs schedule is a lot easier. We both have put the Chiefs as our predicted number 1 seed. And shoot, I've even had the Bills down at number 3, seeing that they've got a big game against the Bengals this weekend. But as of right now, Bills still have the 1. They still have the tiebreaker. They still control their own destiny. So I feel as though, maybe it was just on this show, but I feel like this is the case on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and everything. People have kind of counted out the Bills as a number 1 seed. They figure, it's either going to be the Bengals, it's going to be the Chiefs, and the Bills still hold their own destiny. And if the playoffs run through Buffalo, I want to make sure that I emphasize how crucial that could be for this team making a Super Bowl run in a really deep and talented AFC division. So they've got a massive game in Cincinnati versus the Cincinnati Bengals coming up this week. And then they end the year taking on the Patriots at home in Buffalo. So this game, this weekend, we knew that it was going to matter, but it matters so much more because of everything that happened with Buffalo still having that 1 seed. And I think this game mattered the most because I maybe haven't been taking it as seriously. Like, I feel like I was like, Buffalo will lose 1 here or there. And as of right now, they haven't. So they still control their own destiny. So that's kind of the way that I look at one of the most crucial games this weekend with how they looked against the Bears.
Yeah, I think this is what makes the Bills so scary, and especially on the defense side of the ball. Their run defense has not been great this year. I think they're 25th PFF grade in run defense. But to me, that's more of like a coaching point of that defense, is that they are not going to emphasize stopping the run. If they want to develop a game plan to come out and stop the run, the talent, the horses, the dudes in that front 7 are there to do it. They just don't really choose to. So that's why any given week, no matter who really they play, I think they have answers with this defense to what they could face. So yeah, that's why the Bills defense come playoff time could be scary.
All right. What do you think the game that shaped the playoffs was? Let me hear that.
There were a bunch, but I'm going to go to the Bengals at Patriots. Bengals winning this one. A little tighter than it looked early on as they got out to a big lead. Gave a few back there. But the Bengals now, this means next weekend could be playing on Monday night against the Buffalo Bills for the AFC North crown for a second straight season. If the Ravens go down, obviously Sunday night, they play the Steelers, big divisional matchup. They lose that game. Bengals win Monday night. The Bengals win the North, have a could possibly meaningless Week 18 game, although it probably won't be because the Chiefs obviously would still be in play then if they beat the Bills for the number 1 seed, would have a game lead over the Bengals, and they would have to, I believe they play the Raiders in Week 18. So that is going to have major implications. The top of the AFC, you talked about it, really up in the air still as to who's going to get the 1 seed. But I want to go to the other side with the New England Patriots because I think that's a nail in the coffin. I think they are out of it now. I do not see them making the playoffs at 7-8, even though everyone in the AFC wildcard picture is kind of limping into the barn here. But Mac Jones, outside of Russell Wilson, he's probably had the worst year, but Russell Wilson got paid. So I think Mac Jones has had the most disappointing year of any quarterback in the NFL this season. You're thinking of a guy building off this awesome rookie season into, a year 2 where he solidifies himself as a franchise guy. Can't even steal reps away from Bailey Zappi at times. 25th out of 28 qualifying quarterbacks in overall grade in passer rating. 26th in EPA per play. He is, by any stretch of the imagination, not been good. And his public image has just been completely demolished because he's been taking like 5 cheap shots now. He has been just an absolute unlikable character out there in New England that is kind of, exemplifies the Bill Belichick regime. And if you're looking for reasons to hate the Patriots, Mac Jones is only going to give him to you with that low block he put on, I believe it was Eli Apple, after the pick he threw. So yeah, Mac Jones, it's bad. If you're a New England fan, it's really bad.
Yeah, I was Connor and I were talking on our podcast last week about how likely it would be that the Patriots would draft a quarterback in the first round of this year's draft, and it feels more likely as time goes on that they could take a chance on it. Now, as of right now, I think they're in the late teens or drafting in the late teens, something like that. So they're not super high in the draft order, but I agree with you. It feels like, how could you go into next year with Mac Jones? What are you selling your fan base? How is that? Like, how do you have any faith that it's really going to get figured out? And not to put the nail in the coffin in a kid's career 2 years into the season, but man, it would just be rough to go into next year and just be like, yeah, oh yeah, Mac's the guy. Because it feels like a lot of evidence is against that. The game that shaped the playoffs for me is the Eagles-Cowboys game. Obviously, you talked about so many different games having magnitude with the playoffs. This is certainly one of them. Eagles only need one more win. They need one more win to clinch that number 1 seed, and didn't play with Jalen Hurts, their MVP caliber quarterback, this past week because of a shoulder sprain. Gardner Minshew plays, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this one meaning a lot towards the playoffs is because I think Minshew played well enough to where you've got faith the Eagles are going to win one of these next 2 games without him. They play the Saints, and then they play the Giants to end the season. And Minshew was fine. I think that his stats were totally fine in this game. As you can see him on the screen now, 24 for 40, over 350 passing yards, had the 2 touchdowns, had the 2 interceptions, didn't have a lot of big-time throws, had 1 turnover-worthy play, and adjusted completion percentage over 70%. You got to remember, of course, this guy is starting for the first time in a little bit. He's been a starter before, so he gets it, but still, a little bit of a warm-up game and an important one against the Dallas Cowboys, one that carried a lot of magnitude, one that you knew the Cowboys were going to give you their best. And because of what I saw from Minshew this past week, I believe that even if Jalen Hurts can't go next week, even if he couldn't go the week after, I think they're picking up a win. Now, you're picking up a win somewhere. They're getting that extra bye. They're going to be able to give Hurts and the rest of the team that week of rest, and Philadelphia is going to keep that one. So that's the way that I'm looking at it here. Obviously, fantastic win for the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't think they're going to catch Philly. Like, great win for them. That game keeps that alive for Dallas, but I don't think that they're going to catch Philly there. So ultimately, from what I saw from Minshew, I got faith that the Eagles are still going to get the 1 seed down the stretch.
See, I didn't think this game shaped the playoffs at all because I honestly don't think it changes anything. The Eagles are going to be the 1 seed. Cowboys are going to be the first wild card. The worry now, they're like all this is now, or all that I'd care about if I was an Eagles fan, is the plan with Jalen Hurts going forward. If he takes week 17 and 18 off, he's going to go, and obviously I still think they're going to get the 1 seed, and they say they get the 1 seed. He's going to go over a month without playing football and get tossed into the cauldron in the divisional round against likely a good defense. I mean, that's really all any of the NFC teams have to hang their hat on at this point, is the defensive side of the ball for a lot of these contenders. So that, to me, is probably the worrisome thing if I'm an Eagles fan, is that if Jalen Hurts' shoulder is really a bit of an issue over the next couple of weeks and you're not ready to risk it or not willing to risk it as a coaching staff, playing a first game in over a month as the biggest game, as a divisional round game, could be a scary proposition.
No, there's no doubt about it. I think certainly if somehow they're playing the Niners, I don't know what would need to happen for that to be the case, but like, I'm envisioning if you're playing the Niners game 1 back, it's tough. Like that would be a very tough ask. The rest of them, I think I'd still have faith in Hurts, but there's no doubt about it. It is a point worth making, right? We go back to the preseason all the time. We talk about, do you play guys? Do you get them warm? Do you not? What do you do? So that certainly goes into it with the playoff conversation.
They can't technically play the Niners until the championship game.
So they can't? That's not okay. All right. Well, then I got it.
Because the 2 and the 3 would play each other. And
That's true. Because the Niners can't drop and they can't go any higher than 2. So that makes sense.
Eagles have to get the lowest.
What about the game that shaped the NFL draft? Let's hear it.
Game that shaped the NFL draft was actually one that had no rooting interest from the teams playing. It was the Broncos and the Rams. It was basically the Seahawks against the Lions, rooting against each other to both lose their games, because Seahawks now hold the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Lions now, after the Rams win, hold the 7th overall pick in the draft. Those are some nice lottery tickets to be holding if you are a fan of those 2 teams. But yeah, the Rams and their odd late season explosion here with Baker Mayfield has to be just a knife in the side of every Lions fan, because they thought that pick could have got them the guy. And whether it's defensive lineman, whether it's a quarterback, could have been a straight up dude. Now, number 7 overall, obviously you're still going to get a good player, good prospect, but Seahawks are really sitting in the driver's seat now from a draft perspective of who they're going to be able to get in the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just piggyback off of this just because it makes sense to do so. The game that didn't make any sense to me is this Broncos-Rams game. And I understand that we're to the point where we should just expect the Broncos to not be a good football team this season. That is clearly the story that they are writing. But 51, dude, this game is embarrassing. Come on. Even people who hate 51-14 of a final score is absolutely wild. People who a couple of weeks ago were talking about the Russell Wilson trade being the worst trade of all time was like, okay, all right, let's settle down. Like, it's the beginning of it. Like, let's calm down here. There have been a lot of trades in the NFL that have happened over the years that have been absolutely crazy. But man, dude's getting out here, getting blown out, getting put on the bench, replaced by Brett Rippon. Dude, they're at the point to where this is going so poorly for the Denver Broncos that you almost have no choice but to fire Nathaniel Hackett. Like, even if you get to the point where you go, we don't want to fire head coaches after 1 year. It's not good practice. We don't want to do that. You sunk 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks into Russell Wilson, then gave him a 5-year, $245 million extension. It was the 3rd most lucrative deal in NFL history at the time. You almost have to fire Nathaniel Hackett just because you have so many assets into Russell Wilson that's the part you have to figure out, or none of the rest of this is going to work. Your franchise is going to be so far behind the 8 ball that it's unsalvageable until you can move on from the decisions that you made years down the road. The reason why this game didn't make sense to me isn't necessarily because the Broncos were bad, but for Baker Mayfield to go to his 3rd different team in 2022 to score 51 points without Cooper Kupp, with a terrible offensive line, with a sketchy defense on this Broncos team. I mean, I didn't think it could get this low for the Denver Broncos. And here we are.
You know what it was?
Proven wrong yet again.
You know what it was? Lincoln Riley
was.
attended his first ever game he's tweeted out of a quarterback that he coached in college. It's the first time he's seen an NFL game of it. So Lincoln Riley's such a quarterback whisperer that all he has to do is be in the building, and Baker Mayfield plays out of his mind. He just has to be around him. The air of Lincoln Riley just has to be in the building, and Baker goes off. That's what it was.
Do you think Lincoln Riley wants to go to the NFL? Because I've got to imagine that at this point, any NFL team that wants a head coach is just going to hand him a blank check. But
USC kind of already did, right? So
roll for sure,
double blank check.
That's why I'm saying, like, do you think he wants to go to the NFL? Because I feel like if he did, he would have already been there.
I bet he will at some point.
Okay.
Just it's probably not going to be, college isn't going to be enough. All right. Like, when you're a coach like that, you kind of get to a point where it's just, you've done it all, and the next frontier is the NFL. So he probably will at some point, because coaching stock in college never goes down. He'll always be highly in demand. I don't care how poorly he does in the NFL if he goes there, which I would bet he wouldn't do poorly just because I think he's that creative. But yeah, not anytime soon with how much USC paid him.
I'm curious, chat. What do you guys think? Do you ever think that Lincoln Riley is going to make the jump to the NFL? Because it feels like every team that needs a head coach is going to be interested in it. Griff already said after a title win, if USC wins a title, then he's going to make the jump. Uncle Dusty said might be a job open for him in Denver. Maybe he was scouting out his future team with the Denver Broncos.
Oh, there's a job open for him. He's not going to fucking take it. Let's keep that 100 right now.
Yeah, I don't know how many head coaches would want to walk into that Denver Broncos situation. I really don't. The game that shaped the draft for me, and then we'll get to your game that didn't make sense. I'll just hit on it quick. The Jacksonville Jaguars versus the New York Jets this past weekend. And it shaped the NFL draft for 2 different reasons. A couple weeks ago, we were already talking about how the Jags had basically picked top 10 in the NFL. What was it, 14 out of the last 15 seasons? Just an insane number. And we thought we were looking at, oh boy, here we go again. Jags are going to be picking in the top 10 yet again. Well, now they are the favorites to actually make the playoffs and win the AFC South, as we had talked about on last week's show. Now a 64% chance to make the playoffs, 60% chance to win that division. 30th toughest schedule remaining, which is one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. Their next opponent's at the Houston Texans and then versus the Tennessee Titans. So I think that this game shaped the draft because we're not going to be talking about Jacksonville as a top 10 team. We're instead going to be talking about Jacksonville as a team that is picking in the 20s, as a team that is going to make the playoffs, which you just love to see. But on the other side of things, Mike, it feels like it's over for Zach Wilson, man. It feels like it's hard to come back from this. I mean, you look at the Jets on the other side, they score 3 points. They're benching Zach Wilson for, they don't even have Mike White available. They're benching him for Chris Streveler, a practice squad quarterback. Week 16 against the Jags, 32.2 passing grade, 0 big time throws, 0 turnover worthy plays. But in his career now, we're 2 years into this bad boy. 50.5 passing grade, which is the lowest in the NFL, 18 big time throws, 33 turnover worthy plays. The turnover worthy play rate of 4.6% is the worst mark in the NFL outside of Taylor Heineke. I should have put that in there as a disclaimer. Outside of Taylor Heineke. But Zach Wilson has thrown a lot less passes than Taylor Heineke as well. So it just feels like on the other side of things, this game shaped the draft because Jets now have to take a swing again. They've got to do something, either in free agency or potentially wherever they end up finishing the draft. But it feels like that there's just no way that you can go into next season with Zach Wilson. So I think that's how this game really shaped the NFL draft in those ways. Yeah,
Zach Wilson, I was going to highlight this a little later, but he hasn't had a passing grade over 60.0 since week 5. And 60.0 is not even like a good game. 60.0 is like a below average game. So he hasn't even had a below average game since week 5. Like he's gotten worse. He is going backwards mentally. He is just completely in a blender right scenery. Like for him to ever work out, I just don't think the pressure cooker that is New York is ever going to let him mentally get to where he needs to be. He's already gone. He is too far gone. And I do think that this may shape the draft because that number 15 pick that they hold right now may be going elsewhere to secure them a quarterback that's already a veteran that they know is good, because this roster is too good. Roster is too good to miss the playoffs with the quarterback, to have a quarterback cost you the playoffs once again. They made the mistake in the late 2000s with Mark Sanchez. Don't make the same mistake again.
What about the game that didn't make sense for you? This is the last one before we do a little rapid fire after this.
Game that didn't make sense to me was the hottest team in the NFC, the Detroit Lions, getting steamrolled by the Carolina Panthers. And now we know that the Lions had this in them. They got shredded by a couple teams early on this season, more than a couple teams, honestly, and especially on the ground. But we thought they had it fixed, right? Two of their best performances in run defense had come over the previous 2 weeks in terms of EPA generated. This week was they allowed the 6th most EPA on the ground of any defense all season long. 14.35. Panthers had anything they wanted after trading away Christian McCaffrey, mind you, with a Chuba and Deontay doubleheader. Just going to town, no answers. Detroit Lions, that's 1A, 1B for them on the offseason checklist, is shoring up that run defense, because you can't win when you just see that. Everyone talks, the run game, not nearly as impactful as the passing game in the NFL, but when you really have no answers, right, like the Lions do in some games this season, you're just not going to be a contender.
This is a game that I definitely wanted to touch on because holy cow. What a job by Steve Wilks and what he's been doing over the last couple of weeks since he really took over as the Carolina Panthers head coach, having a couple of bigger upset wins. I feel like this is the biggest one for him that they were able to upset, other than that Buccaneers win a couple months ago that they had at home. This one also feels like a massive one because, you look at interim head coaches, when guys take over in the middle of the year, it's not necessarily players, especially when it's not their side of the ball, that their side of expertise, that you would maybe handpick yourself. So you can't change a ton of things. Like Carolina didn't have the opportunity. Like, sure, they changed head coach, but they didn't have the ability to change quarterbacks. I mean, they have, but it didn't exactly get better. My point in that is saying, when I look at interim head coaches, I look at a couple of different things immediately. what happens with the defense? Can the defense come alive? Can they change things and become a little bit more sound on defense? And how do they run the ball? Because that often just goes to mentality, looking your guys in the eye, giving them something to play for. And those two areas of the Carolina Panthers have been exponentially better since Steve Wilks took over, which tells me that he is still getting a roster whose head coach was fired early in the season to buy in, to believe, to continue to fight, to continue to get better, to continue to win football games. And that's what the Carolina Panthers have done. And so that's one other game that I wanted to hit on. But as we get to the best of the rest, was yours the Zach Wilson point? Was that just your, because I see you got Jags Jets on here.
Yeah, I will touch though on that Panthers just a little bit more, because they have a game next week that's for the South.
They do indeed.
They have a game against the Bucs that is quite literally going to decide the division. Yeah, it's going to Tampa Bay, but they beat them last time. I do think this this Carolina Panthers team is capable of doing it again. So what a story that would be should they make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll touch on the Buccaneers and that thrilling Christmas Day capper that we saw last night, the overtime victory for the Buccaneers in Arizona. What an absolutely ugly game that was. It just felt like nobody really wanted to win that football game. And then Tom Brady went, okay, I guess, sure, muscle memory, I'll just go win it, and we'll all get out of here. But, something that I wanted to point out with the Buccaneers offense is it seems like Mike Evans really cannot get involved. I talked about at the top of the show how the Minnesota Vikings do such a great job of making sure that Justin Jefferson gets as many looks as possible. And it's not that Mike Evans doesn't get looks, 8 targets, 9 targets, 10 targets a game. Like that's something that continually happens for Mike Evans, but the catches are so much lower. 3 catches, 4 catches, 5 catches. It's not these takeover performances. This is the 3rd year in a row now with Tom Brady when Mike Evans has had 7 games without a 100-yard receiving performance. And that was another one last night where he didn't even get close to 100 yards. Brady's time to throw, and I think a reason for that is it's the lowest in the NFL. 2.30 is the fastest time to throw that we have in the NFL this season. And last night against the Cardinals, it was 1.86. That's how fast the ball was getting. I don't know if it's just because of the offensive line, he doesn't trust the offensive line, or whatever it is, but Brady is getting rid of the ball so quickly that a wide receiver like Mike Evans, who is not an immediate separator off the line of scrimmage, does not have time to create that separation and to do what he does best. When you saw him really getting over that 1,000-yard threshold every single season with Jameis Winston, it was because Jameis would hold on to the ball for forever, and Mike would eventually get open. He could eventually create his own separation. And Joe, a lot of people are out there, they're asking like for fantasy purposes, and some people are just like, man, what is going on with Mike Evans this year? That's what's going on with Mike Evans. Tom Brady is getting rid of the ball so quickly that one of the best receivers in the game doesn't even have time to kind of get into his strengths of really posting guys up and getting further than 10, 15 yards down the field. And it's not really happening for them. And I don't know if that gets better. I don't know if that's something that you go, oh yeah, him and Mike will figure it out, just because of the way that Brady is playing this year. 1.86, the ball coming out of your hands. Mike, I feel like that's got to be one of the fastest of any game that we've seen this season. That's crazy.
Yeah, this Bucs offense it's hard to watch. It's one of those offenses around the NFL. There's a number of them this year that just week in and week out make football look difficult. They're lucky to be where they are. And I still believe the talent's there, right? Like they're not too dissimilar from the Super Bowl year. Obviously, Antonio Brown's a big part of that, but like this offense could still move the ball at times, as we see like in the 2-minute drills very often this season. But it's just the down in, down out. They just make it look so much harder than it needs to be.
Yeah. I'm just looking at some thoughts in the chat. Baptism in the Ism says, "Have you seen the Houston Texans play?" I don't know if that's a shot at the Buccaneers, but all I would say is that if the Houston Texans lined up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week, I would bet on the Houston Texans. I would bet on the Houston Texans to beat the Buccaneers. In fact, there's not really a team in the NFL that I would say should be favored over how inept the Tampa is, which is probably a hot take, but that's what's in my heart.
That's reactionary. That's reactionary.
I don't know what other, I guess, like other than divisional opponents, who do I have more faith? Who do I have less faith in the Buccaneers to operate their offense than them?
Colts.
Raiders, maybe. I mean, the Panthers obviously stomped them. The Steelers already beat the Buccaneers. The Texans are actually playing good football. The Bears, I think Justin Fields would just be so dynamic, he'd probably score more than them. I don't know. Maybe
Broncos.
too reactionary, but Broncos would be the team that I thought about last night that I'd go, okay. I'd still favor the Buccaneers to beat the Broncos because that's just that's even more of a dumpster fire than the Buccaneers are. Any other game you want to hit on before we move on to our drip or skip segment?
Let's drip or skip.
All right, let's get into it. So get into it. Not an expert said, yeah, Broncos. Broncos exist. Yeah, that's I forgot about the Broncos. You guys are totally right. Let's get into drip or skip. These are our favorite fashion outfits. I have not seen any of these. Once again, going in blind because that was fun last week to just go in blind with these. Maybe they're going to be Christmas themed. Maybe they won't. So Quinn, if you are ready, your first drip or skip just says the Broncos.
Yeah, speaking of the Broncos, check it out.
What do we got here?
Some Christmas suits. Fun fact, I actually have one of these suits. It's not the one in the picture. It's red with snowmen and Christmas trees on it. Tipsy Elves is the brand. It's like $80.
Okay, yeah.
You get one of those.
I mean, yeah, anytime you get in the holiday spirit, I can respect it. So I'm in on it. Anyone going in on Christmas is a drip. Now,
I think this is 100% drip. 100% drip. Now, of the Christmas suits.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Are those all actually Christmas themed? What am I looking at with the light blue one and the black one there?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but one's got snowflakes. Looks like the other's got just assorted Christmas stuff, and then you got one that's got the your classic ugly sweater pattern. Which I'm down.
Did we see
down with all
Daryl Johnson, by the way? Because I see he's not on the lineup here. Daryl Johnson changed coats. He had multiple Christmas coats.
I only saw the one Christmas coat, and then I saw somebody tweet that he changed. I didn't
it was
see
sick.
that. I didn't see
that. Was drip. That's high end drip.
When you have multiple Christmas suits that you can choose from, or just jackets that you can choose from, that's when you know that your closet absolutely made it. Okay, the next one on here I see is just Rip Wilson.
Yep, and you'll see why.
Logan Wilson.
Yeah.
What is it?
He's owning it. He has to watch It's Just Football, right? 2 weeks after I said he's Rip from Yellowstone, he shows up wearing a Yellowstone ugly Christmas sweater.
He's wearing a Yellowstone ugly Christmas sweater.
Rip Wilson.
Yes, he is.
Fan of the show, Logan Wilson.
Absolutely love it.
Chat champ today is Logan Wilson because I know you're watching, bud. I don't know his YouTube.
Shout out Logan Wilson. I know you're watching. Yeah. Good game this past weekend. Immaculate drip. This 1000% a drip. This is the show's brand coming alive. A couple weeks ago, if you guys missed it, we nicknamed Logan Wilson Rip Wilson from the character Rip in the show Yellowstone, and here Logan Wilson is walking into the stadium with a Yellowstone sweater. You can't write a better script than that. You just can't. You love to see it. Adam saying drip.
Fantastic.
DT saying drip.
He's got to watch. Drip. Again, he's got to be a fan of the show.
Yeah, he has to be. He has to be a fan of the show. Everybody's saying drip. If we get one single skip. Oh, Baptism says skip because I hate the show. Come on.
Ouch.
All right. All right. What do we got here for the next one?
Mike was so excited that he fucking dropped off the stream.
Oh, did he really? Okay. All right. I'm gonna carry this. I got to carry it.
He jumped it for joy and knocked it.
Unless you guys need to work to get that, but I see Khalil Herbert is next for this.
Khalil Herbert is the next one.
All right, Khalil Herbert.
The shoes, do we even call those shoes? I don't know what that is. No. I don't know if this is a reference to something or what, but
those are like the rock climbing shoes. You know?
The toe. I don't think they are.
The toed shoes? I couldn't do it. No way. I've never been into these. shoes. A lot of people saying skip. People are saying I'm in two different dimensions right now, just because Mike, Mike's internet crapped out on him. Normally we've got the boxes set up correctly, but instead now it's two different versions of me. It's like the symmetry thing on TikTok, where people they'll take like the left side of their face or the right side of their face, so they put it together. For me, it's just like top and bottom. So you guys got to decide. Do I look better nose down, or do I look better?
We'll get you here in a second. We'll get you squared away.
Well, we get Mike back. Okay.
There you go.
There we go. There's the one box. Okay. Quincy Wilson's the next one. Quincy Williams. I said Quincy Wilson. Quincy Williams is the next one here for Trevor Skip. Oh, full Grinch? It's Skip. No. Wait. Sorry. Drip. Hard drip.
That's dedication to the costume. That's like that's a very high quality Grinch costume.
And it's the Jets too. You know, like the green plays. I know it's not the same color, but you know, like this is it's got the Grinch costume that's got the Christmas hat on. This is a beauty. This is an absolute beauty. Love this one. Myles Garrett's next. We can just go on to Myles Garrett next. You guys already got that one teed up, so we don't have to spend a ton of time on it. Okay, this isn't Christmas themed, right? I'm not missing anything.
No, it's not.
Just
I don't think I'm.
it looks like flower printed black suit. I kind of like it. I don't know if I could wear it, but it looks good on Myles.
Okay. Griff saying way too many Grinch suits. Yeah, but like when you nail it, you nail it. I mean, this is fine. I mean, like it's just like it's a black suit. It's kind of the way I see it.
Chat saying
I guess
drip.
I'll say drip. I don't think this is another one of those things that I don't think I could do it. You know, I don't think I could pull off this Myles Garrett suit, but he does. So okay, what's the next one here?
Next one, Gardner Minshew.
Ooh. I didn't see this one. Gardner's known for his fashion. Gardner is known for his fashion.
I mean, it looks just like what I wear to work every day.
It looks like what?
It looks like what I wear to work every day. For nothing more than that, I got to give him a.
This is a Quinn drip. This is a Quinn drip right here. I guess I'll give it to you. I'll respect Quinn. I'll respect what Quinn walks into every day.
Chat
I'll
saying
give
drip.
I'll give this a drip. This is a Quinn drip. If you give this a Skip, let's face it, you're going after yourself. We all wear this when it's cold. So you're kind of telling on yourself here if you think this one's a Skip. Gardner automatic drip, says Justin. Or just Robert. Matt saying Skip. Matt, come on. Matt, is just the bar too high? I feel like everybody. Oh, Matt's also saying no mustache. Easy Skip. Mike, did we get you back?
I'm live.
Okay. All right, we're back.
Live.
I don't know. Can you see the Gardner Minshew one through the skit through the drip?
I can. It looks like an outfit that I have worn before.
Oh, okay. So that's we're all on the same page there. All right, George Kittle's the next one. We got two left. George Kittle's next. Oh yeah.
Is that actually like a Levi's ad?
No, I think it's just
because it's Levi's Stadium.
Just because it's Levi's Stadium, but
I mean that looks like something you see at a Kohl's, right?
Yeah.
Like the guy's so happy to be.
Those jeans could be Levi's.
Yeah.
Could be. It's good. Yeah, that's good. I think this is an automatic skip. Automatic trip. I feel like if anybody goes against this one, that's tough. All right, last one's Geno. Smith. Oh, I think I did see this one. Just absolutely.
That's just a sharp looking suit. Christmas or not.
Sharp. That's sharp. That's
all business. The man showed up on a mission.
Did he go a little Christmas trees on the tie? Is that? If so,
I think we do.
Can't tell obviously with the resolution, but if so, might be one of the harder drips of the season.
Yeah. No, this is. Nathan said that looks Photoshop. Well, part of it looks Photoshop. What do you mean? No, this is an absolute drip. Oh, he's saying the Kittle one. Nah, this is 100%. I agree with Mike. If he's got the Christmas trees on the tie, then this is a top 3 drip that we've had all season.
Yeah.
Top 3 drip. All right, there we go. We ended on the best one. So well done, Quinn, planning that out, ending on the best one. Mike, as we end this show here, let's quick hit on some Monday Night Football bets. We've got the Indianapolis Colts against the Los Angeles Chargers to cap off this holiday weekend. Got the Chargers favored by 4 in this game. It's in Indianapolis. So you got the dome. The weather's not going to affect the game. Over-under is 45.5, and then we got a prop bet from each of us. Where are you going on this game, Mike?
Let me go the Colts side of that. Home dog. Love it. Under 45.5. And then we go Nick Foles under 33.5 passing attempts. Think they're going to get it going on the ground, not need to pass. So there's my trifecta.
Big Saint Nick. Big Saint Nick guy. Green line, PFF Green Line, as you guys can see on the screen right there. That is in the PFF app. If you guys don't have it, download it by going to the Apple App Store, checking out PFF, Pro Football Focus. And you can see all of our betting tools, all of our fantasy tools, basically everything. The best of PFF right in the palm of your hand. And you can see this screen right here. Shows you that Green Line likes Mike's bet. I'm going on the other side of things. We are a week removed from Indianapolis having the greatest collapse in NFL history. And because of that and other reasons, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers. So I'll take Justin Herbert to overcome the 4-point spread as a road team here. I will also go under 45.5. I don't really think that this game's going to be a shootout, but I do think Justin Herbert's going to get more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think we're in for 2. I think 2's the magic number here for Justin Herbert. So that is my prop bet. Justin Herbert going over 1.5 touchdowns in this game. Quinn, you remind the people of our question of the day before we get them out of here?
Yep. How many active NFL, we'll call it pass catchers. I put wide receivers on the graphic. That's my bad. How many active NFL pass catchers currently hold a single season franchise receiving record?
Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, Travis Kelce, Devontae Adams. Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill. It's one of the two. Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs,
Julio Jones,
Cooper Kupp,
Michael Thomas, possibly AJ Green.
I think AJ Green. It's either AJ Green or Jamar Chase. So that's 9.
Okay. 9.
We're getting 9 there.
We got AJ Brown, but I don't know if he ever went for that nuts for the Titans. We got Odell with the Giants, but how many did he go for his best year? Possibly.
He had like 1,500 one year.
Possibly Odell, possibly DeAndre Hopkins, possibly Allen Robinson. I think I'll add one more onto that. I think I'll say 10.
Okay, I'm going to say... I'll just go with the 9. You know what? I'll go with 9. I'll be different than you. I will go with the 9. Let's see what the chat is saying. Williams going 9. Steven's going 8. Hopeful Lions fans going 12. Baptism going 9. Matt's going 11. Oh, somebody brought up T.Y. Hilton. A couple of people saying Mark Andrews. I'm going 9. All right, what's the answer? What do we got here, Quinn?
Some good guesses. It's 11. Julio Jones.
It's 11.
Mark Andrews is in there.
Mark Andrews was one.
Julio Jones.
Really?
Mark Andrews, Stephon Diggs. It is Jamar Chase, not AJ Green. Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Michael Thomas, DK Metcalf, Mike Evans, and then obviously Justin Jefferson.
Wow.
DK has it.
DK, yeah. Like 1,300 or something like that. He's one of the lower totals amongst all the franchises, but it still counts.
Didn't have DK in there. Well,
yeah, Andrews was the
did somebody get it
one.
exactly right? I think Matt did. I think Matt got 11.
Yes, he
I
did.
don't know if he named all of them out, but I think Matt got 11. Everybody else can't go with 11? I think it was only Matt. The end there, at least. Final guesses. All right, do we have a chat champ for the day?
Yep, chat champ is Birdie. It's his first live show. The day.
Hey, Birdie.
That's
Birdie
dedication.
getting in the chat. We love to see it.
Honorable
Thanks
mention,
for watching, Birdie. Thanks.
Logan
What'd
Wilson.
you say, Quinn?
Honorable mention, chat champ Logan Wilson, because I know he's watching, probably
Rip.
on his burner account. Shout out, Rip. Love the sweater. Congratulations on the season. Keep watching. Appreciate it.
I thought we were going to get a congratulations on beating the Buffalo Bills this weekend with a little bit of confidence there, but maybe we can pry it out of Quinn later in the week. Mike, you got anything else before we get out of here?
I do not.
All right.
So hopefully no more technical difficulties tomorrow.
No. We'll be back at home. Tomorrow. Everything will be smooth sailing as we get into the rest of the week. Tomorrow, we got Dogs of the Week, of course, everybody's favorite segment, highlighting some good players that we saw from this past weekend. Wednesday, it's going to be all NFL draft, as you guys have come to know and love. Thursday, we're getting back to trivia. We got to get back in the win column, baby. Chat's only up 1. Then Friday, we're going to get back to bracketology as well. Jam-packed week here on It's Just Football. Appreciate everybody watching. We'll see you tomorrow, same time. See you guys then.
It's not about politics. It's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. He's just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
I just get it and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.